Case studies are kind of questions that not only prepare you for the certifications like DP203, but also take your overall cloud understanding to a whole new level. Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard. Looking at the importance of case studies, here I present another interesting case study on DP203 to help you get certified. Please note that although this is our 20th part in DP203 Q&A series, when it comes to the case study, this is our third one. The first one was covered in the part 15 and the second one was covered in part 19. And friends, I will share a free PDF file of this case study with answers so that you can learn in offline mode as well. And for that, I will ask a question during this video. And if you get it right, you will get a free PDF file of the entire case study, including the answers. So what are we waiting for? Let's start reading our case study. As always, let's start with understanding the overview section. The section says that Perfect Pizza Incorporations owns and operates 300 convenience stores across US. The company sells a variety of packaged foods and drinks as well as a variety of prepared foods such as sandwiches and pizzas. Then it says that Perfect Pizza has a loyalty club whereby members can get daily discounts on specific items by providing their membership number at the checkout. Then it says that the Perfect Pizza employs business analysts who prefer to analyze the data by using Microsoft Power BI and the data scientists who prefer analyzing data in Azure Databricks notebooks. Now we have the requirements, which starts with the business goal. The business goal is that the Perfect Pizza wants to create a new analytics environment in the Azure to meet the following requirements. The first one is see the inventory level across the stores. Then we have data must be updated as close to the real time as possible. The third one is execute ad hoc analytics queries on the historical data to identify whether the loyalty club discounts increases sales of a discounted products. Then lastly, we have every 4 hours notify the store employees about how many prepared food items to produce based on the historical demand from the sales data. Coming up next is the technical requirements. It says Perfect Pizza identifies the following technical requirements. The first one here is minimize the number of different Azure services needed to achieve the business goals that we just read. Use the platform as a service or PaaS offering whenever possible and avoid having to provision virtual machines that must be managed by Perfect Pizza. Then it says that ensure that the analytical data store is accessible only to the company's on-premises network and Azure services. Then it says use the Azure Active Directory authentication whenever possible. Moving ahead, use the principle of least privilege when designing security. Stage inventory data in Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 before loading the data into analytical data store. Perfect Pizza wants to remove transient data from the data. Further, it says lake storage removes the data once the data is no longer in use. Files that have been modified date that is older than 14 days must be removed. And then it says to limit the business analyst access to customer contact information such as phone numbers because this type of data is not analytically relevant. The last line says to ensure that you quickly restore a copy of analytical data store within 1 hour in the event of corruption or accidental deletion. And now comes the details on planned environment. It says that the Perfect Pizza plans to implement the following requirements. The first one is the application development team will create an Azure Event Hub to receive real-time sales data, including store number, date, time, product ID, customer loyalty number, price, and discount amount from the point of sales and output the data to data storage in Azure. Then it says that the customer data including name, contact information and the loyalty number comes from Salesforce, a SaaS application that can be imported into Azure once every 8 hours. Rows modified dates are not trusted in the source table. Moving ahead, it says that the daily inventory data comes from Microsoft SQL Server located on a private network. Perfect Pizza currently has 5 TB of historical sales data and 100 GB of customer data. The company expects approximately 100 GB of new data per month for the next year. Finally, in this section, it says Perfect Pizza will build a custom application named Food Prep to provide store employees with the calculation results of how many prepared food items to produce every 4 hours. Perfect Pizza does not plan to implement Azure Express Route or VPN between on-premises network and Azure. So those were the details given in the case study. Now let's move on to the question and answer section. So here comes our question number 1. The question says that which Azure Data Factory components should you recommend using together to import daily inventory data from SQL Server to Azure Data Lake Storage? Here we can see that we have to choose what will be the integration runtime type. Then we have to choose the trigger type. And on top of that, we also have to figure out the activity type. But before that, as always, let's first understand which requirement are we actually going to fulfill. Here it comes. The first requirement that we have to fulfill is customer data, including name, contact information, and loyalty number comes from the Salesforce and can be imported into Azure once every 8 hours. Rows modified dates are not trusted in the source table. This requirement is coming from the planned environment section. Moving on, similar to the customer data, we also have the product data, and the other details are exactly same as that of customer data. Of course, this is also coming from the planned environment section. Now let's check out the options given for the integration runtime type. Here we have Azure Integration Runtime. Then we have Azure SSIS Integration Runtime. The third option is Self-Hosted Integration Runtime. And the correct answer is Self-Hosted Integration Runtime. Moving on with the trigger type, here we have options as Event-Based Trigger. The second option is Schedule Trigger. And then we have Tumbling Window Trigger. The correct answer for trigger type is Schedule Trigger. Thirdly, we have activity type, and here the options are copy activity, lookup activity, and stored procedure activity. And the correct answer for the activity type is copy activity. Now let's move on with the second question. It says, what should you recommend using to secure sensitive customer contact information? Your options are transparent data encryption, row level security. The third option is column level security, and the fourth option is data sensitivity labels. And the correct answer is option C, column level security. Now friends, as promised, to get a free PDF file, you just simply have to tell me why the case studies are important for you. Write your answers in the comment section below to get your free PDF file of this case study. Now let's move ahead with the question number 3. It says that what should you do to improve high availability of the real-time data processing solution? Your options are deploy a high concurrency Databricks cluster. The second option is deploy an Azure Stream Analytics job and use an Azure Automation Runbook to check the status of the job and to start the job if it stops. Then the third one is set the data lake storage to use geo-redundant storage. Lastly, we have deploy identical Azure Stream Analytics jobs to paired regions in Azure. Now, shall we find out the exact requirement that we are going to fulfill? Here it comes. It says that the application development team will create an Azure Event Hub to receive real-time sales data, including store number, date, time, product ID, customer loyalty number, price, and discount amount from the point of sale system and output the data to data storage in Azure. This one comes from the planned environment section of the case study. Friends, once again, I want to remind you that these kind of requirement mapping or the section mapping from the case study will not be present in the actual exam. This is just to help you build a skill where you can map the case study sections with that of the actual questions. So please keep that in mind whenever you are preparing for the case studies. And with that, let's check out the answer for this question. Here it comes. We have option D as the answer to this question. And what's the justification of the same? Well, part of being fully managed service is the capability to introduce new service functionality and improvements at a rapid pace. As a result, stream analytics that we also chose as an answer can have a service update deploy on a weekly basis. And with that, let's move on to the question number 4, which is the last question for today. It says that what should you recommend to prevent users outside the Perfect Pizza on-premises network from accessing the analytical data store? Your options are a server-level firewall IP rule. The second one is a database-level virtual network rule. The third one is a server-level virtual network rule. And the fourth one is a database-level firewall IP rule. And the correct answer that I have chosen is the option A, a server level firewall IP rule. Now friends, I understand that you can have different views of the answer for this question. And I would love to hear if you think that option B, C or D could also be the answer to this question. Send your justifications or arguments for the other options if you think that they are the answers to this question. I hope you enjoyed this case study on DP203. Please remember the case studies are important and integral part of DP203 exams. Also, please do not miss to watch our other exciting case studies on AZ104. Please do like the video before you jump on to see the other parts. Do subscribe to the channel and make sure to press that bell icon to receive timely notification of all our upcoming videos on Azure certification. Join us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter where you get regular short updates in the cloud space. Thank you so much for learning with us. I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning and thanks for watching.
If this video has added any value in your learning, a like and subscribe is highly appreciated. Share this video in your family and friends to spread and expand their learning. Your comments and feedback give me a chance to interact with you and I look forward for them. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning and thanks for watching.